For more, let's welcome Pati Jinich to Austin Insight. It's great to have you with us, Pati.
Thank you so much, Laura. Lovely to connect.
Absolutely. So you are venturing all the way to Alaska in the first few episodes. So first, can you tell us what Panamericana means and what inspired this series?
Absolutely. Well, Laura, I've been doing Patty's Mexican Table for the past almost 14 years. We're going on our 14th season. And after going back and forth, Mexico and the US to different regions of Mexico, I wanted to go to the US border to where my two, my home country and my new home meet. So we did the docu-series called La Frontera, where I went from one end to the other of the US-Mexico borderlands, which was fascinating. And after doing that, I just felt this urge to connect with people throughout the Americas because in the United States of America, there's people from all over in this hemisphere. So I just wanted to connect to meet people in the communities where they're from and share lesson learned and just get to experience new things just out of the box, out of the ordinary for me. And it was absolutely fascinating.
It sounds like it just from watching the trailer. And you bring up the concept of connection and cuisine, culture, community, the three C's all inevitably are connected. So in this journey, what are some of the most unique dishes or discoveries you've made in your travels?
It was absolutely fascinating, Laura. So, the idea is to loosely follow the Pan American Highway, which is a series of roads that connects North and South America, all the way from the top of North America, Utqiagvik, where we started, and then it ends in Ushuaia at the tip of Argentina. So, for season one, we crossed all of Alaska and then connected to Canada in the Yukon and then went down Western Canada in Alberta. And I would say two things. One, as a Mexican, I love to take the pulse of where Mexican food and people have gone. And we've gone everywhere, Laura. I was finding caribou chili and salmon quesadillas and chicken burritos. I mean, it's just incredible how far Mexican food and ingredients have gone. But other than that, it was incredible to learn about the cuisines of the different places where we were and the different migration waves. So, for example, we were in Juneau, Alaska, and we ate some of the most delicious Filipino food. It turns out that Filipinos are one of the biggest minorities in Alaska, and the food there is non par. I have never eaten Filipino food so delicious.
Wow, that's something just now learning. It's so fascinating. And Alaska is like for the US's final frontier. So really excited to see all that you discover there. And why do you think it's so important to understand culinary or cooking traditions from other places, maybe even places that are far away from your home?
I just think food and cooking in the kitchen is the most noble space to understand one another and how we enrich one another. And you realize that we're all the same. We're all humans. We're trying to survive. We're trying to make a living. And we all connect in that food is not only sustenance, but food brings us back to family, to memories, to community. And this series is much more than food, but food is definitely a vehicle that ties us all together.
100%. And people, we come to see, obviously, you cook, but you always have such amazing stories and interactions. So can you tell us about going to some of these places, some places that we may never experience ourselves in our lifetime? Can you tell us maybe some of the most memorable experiences you had on this latest journey?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say that every place was fascinating, but the ones that seemed a little bit more difficult to reach are the ones that are off the road. So, to give you an example, Alaska, we see Alaska in the map and it looks small relative to the rest of the United States. But Alaska is like a third of the size of the lower 48 of the United States of America. And it is just gigantic, and they have many parts of Alaska that are not on the road system, meaning to get there you have to go by boat, by flight. And for example, Utqiagvik, which is the northernmost point of Alaska, you have to take a flight and you really don't know when you're gonna take off, or if you're gonna take off, because the weather is so extreme and the conditions are so extreme. And people there are generous and welcoming, and they're just so happy that you made it there. And the food was absolutely extraordinary. And they live a survival way of life. They have to hunt, forage, fish, and preserve to survive. And you realize that when we're here in the lower 48, we take many things for granted, for sure.
It sounds humbling just hearing how daily life is so much harder there. Now you make me want to go to Alaska and see all this for myself. And, when people watch your series, what do you hope they take away?
I really hope that we are able to change the narrative, to make people feel like what we think are labels or categories. Many times they're in our minds and in the narrative and in the news. But it seems to me that life is more a continuous shade of gray than what we find much these days in the news, which is a lot of division and polarization. We're all one and the same, Laura. And when you get out there in the road and you meet people and you meet their grandparents and you meet the families just trying to live their daily lives, you just realize how much we take for granted here.
Absolutely. Well said. And we cannot wait to see the rest of your series from Alaska to Argentina. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. We look forward to watching your journey across Panamericana. And thank you so much, Pati, for joining us.
Thank you, Laura, for having me on today.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment below to let us know your thoughts on this video. And don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Austin Insight for free in the PBS app.